That house, once a warm home, suddenly became a battlefield. The laughter of children, once a dream, now echoed with endless arguments, cracks deeply etched into every wall, every corner of my soul. Because there are some things, no matter how much you love each other, no matter if you share a home, a heartbeat, that simply cannot be reconciled, and that's the view on children. I once believed that love could overcome everything, that dreams would merge like two rivers flowing into one great sea. But I was wrong. When definitions of family happiness become opposing forces, it can destroy everything, even the most sacred things. My dear friends, are you standing at crucial crossroads in your life, especially concerning building a family? Take a moment to listen to my story. The story of my life, about Olivia, the woman I once loved more than myself, and about how we were torn apart by our differing dreams for the next generation. Is love big enough to overcome different definitions of family happiness? Or will those views become sharp blades, severing a seemingly eternal bond? In 2014, in the vibrant city of San Francisco, the heart of Silicon Valley, that's where my love story with Olivia began to blossom. I'm Matthew, a talented software engineer with an innovative mindset and a burning passion for technology. I had just completed my master's program at Stanford and was working for a leading tech startup poised to revolutionize the entire industry. With wavy brown hair and sparkling blue eyes reflecting intelligence, I always dreamed of creating groundbreaking products, leaving my mark in the digital age. I believed technology could solve all problems, and I yearned to be part of that revolution, to be admired and recognized. Olivia was a beautiful, enthusiastic, and positive preschool teacher with long golden hair and a radiant smile that could light up a room. She worked at a private preschool in the city center, dedicating her heart to the children, the future sprouts she wanted to nurture. She had warm hazel eyes and a deeply empathetic soul, always drawn to human stories. Olivia didn't just teach reading and numbers. She also taught life values, lessons about love and sharing. We met at an annual volunteer event hosted by my company at an orphanage. I was teaching the kids how to assemble simple robots, while Olivia was organizing creative games and telling stories to them. From the first glance, I was captivated by her gentleness, her eyes sparkling with love, and the way Olivia spoke passionately about the children and their simple dreams. I felt an unusual sense of peace when I was with her. Olivia, in turn, admired my intelligence, my thoughtfulness, and the patience with which I guided the children. Our love blossomed naturally, as gently as a morning flower, serene yet intense, like a wordless love song humming in both our souls. Our dates weren't limited to fancy cafes or romantic movies. We explored the hilly streets of San Francisco together, walked hand in hand across the Golden Gate Bridge as the sun set, the last rays of light painting the sky red, and dreamed of a bright future. We spent hours in quaint public libraries reading our favorite books, sharing our deepest thoughts, our hidden fears, and even our craziest dreams. We talked about our nascent work projects, about the adventurous trips we wanted to take, and about a cozy little house with a flower-filled garden in the suburbs where we could adopt a dog and grow old together, watching our children grow up. I still remember Olivia dreaming of a daughter with my curly hair and a clever son like her. Olivia was always my biggest supporter, believing in my talent and my bold ideas. "Matthew, you're a talented engineer. I always believe in you," she would often say, her eyes gleaming with pride, and I felt like I could conquer the whole world, that no obstacle was insurmountable with her by my side, that all my successes had meaning when she shared them. As for me, I just wanted to build a fulfilling life, a peaceful home for us both, where I could return after stressful work hours and find peace, where I could be myself. Not Matthew the genius engineer, but just Olivia's Matthew. After 2 years of dating, we decided to get married, a cozy wedding at a small villa in Napa Valley with the gentle rustling of green vineyards like a symphony of love. Our wedding day included not only family and our closest friends, but also many distant relatives and colleagues, all witnessing the moment we exchanged vows to be together forever, no matter the storms of life or the hardships ahead. Our first kiss as husband and wife, after we officially became a couple, was incredibly sweet and sacred, like an eternal promise etched deep into my soul. I believed that nothing could tear us apart, that our love was strong enough to overcome any challenge. I believed I had found a safe harbor, a refuge for my life, a solid foundation from which I could soar higher in my career. Our married life in San Francisco flowed smoothly, happily. I poured my heart into my work, diligently coding, developing new applications that I believed would revolutionize the tech industry. I advanced quickly within the company, becoming one of the key engineers. Olivia remained a dedicated preschool teacher, passionate about her lessons and games with the little ones. And we had evenings gathered around the dinner table, telling each other stories from our day, small successes or new challenges, the people we met, the things we learned. We planned for the future, for buying a larger house in a peaceful suburb with enough space for children to play as Olivia wished, and a private office for me. We had even chosen names for the children who would fill our home with laughter, a daughter with my eyes and a clever son like Olivia. Everything seemed to be going perfectly, a flawless picture of simple happiness where love was the strongest foundation, where every dream could come true. We had been married for 3 years. Life was still peaceful and happy, but a major issue gradually emerged like a tiny crack on the sturdy wall of our marriage, starting from innocent conversations that suddenly became sharp thorns piercing our hearts: the issue of children. Olivia, with her innate maternal instincts and love for teaching, always yearned for children. For her, a complete family had to have the laughter of children, tiny footsteps, warm hugs every time she returned home after a tiring day. She envisioned a future with well-behaved children whom she would care for and teach from the smallest things, nurturing their rich souls and compassionate hearts. Olivia often told me adorable stories about her students, her dreams of becoming a mother, of raising children with me to become useful individuals, global citizens. "I want a daughter with curly brown hair and blue eyes like you, Matthew, and a clever, active son. So our house is always filled with laughter," Olivia often said, her eyes sparkling with hope, her hand gently stroking my hair. She had already started buying tiny baby clothes, looking at crib designs, and researching early childhood education methods. She even invited me to visit some high-quality preschools where she thought our children could later attend. I remember her spending hours researching Montessori and Reggio Emilia programs and always excitedly sharing the new things she learned. I was different. I loved children, but I had never prioritized having them. For me, my career was at its peak. My company was growing rapidly, and I was one of the key players. Major projects, important presentations, international business trips to Silicon Valley, New York, and even Europe and Asia awaited. I wanted to dedicate my full passion, time, and focus to work to build a tech empire, to create lasting software architecture. I also had deep anxieties about the responsibilities of fatherhood, about whether I had enough financial time and emotional capacity to raise a child in today's complex society. I feared that having children would take away my freedom, my privacy, and especially the time I needed for my career, for exploring the world, for my personal passions. "I want us to be more stable, to have a stronger financial foundation." First, Olivia. I often said, my voice full of evasion, my eyes not daring to meet hers. "My work is very busy right now. Having children now would be very difficult. We wouldn't have time for each other, and we wouldn't be able to provide the best conditions for them." Initially, conversations about children were just hints, gentle probes. Olivia would often jokingly ask, "When will we have a mini Matthew or Olivia running around the house?" And I would awkwardly laugh, replying, "It'll probably be a while, my love. There's a $1 million project waiting for me to finish." I thought she was just casually mentioning it, and that she would eventually understand my pressures and ambitions. But gradually, those questions became more direct conversations, turned into small arguments, then heated, breathless quarrels. Olivia felt that I didn't truly understand her, didn't cherish her sacred desire to be a mother. She felt excluded from my future plans, as if she were just an auxiliary part of my grand vision. "Do you love me, Matthew? Do you want to build a real family with me? Or do you just want a life partner to share the present with?" Olivia once tearfully questioned me, her voice trembling with hurt. Those questions were like daggers to my heart, making me feel uncomfortable and cornered. I, on the other hand, felt immense pressure. It wasn't that I didn't want children. It was just that I wanted a more thorough preparation, a more stable career, an unshakable financial foundation. I wanted to ensure my children would have the best life, lacking nothing. I felt pressured by Olivia, cornered by her, into a difficult choice between the career I was dedicating myself to and a family I wasn't ready for. I tried every way to avoid confronting the tense atmosphere and Olivia's questioning gaze. I even enrolled in a few online courses on financial management and investing, thinking it was the best way to prepare for the future. Communication between us gradually eroded, replaced by coldness and invisible voids like a widening chasm. We lived under the same roof but in different worlds, each with our own unspoken burdens. I remember once Olivia had prepared a lavish dinner with my favorite dishes, but I came home late due to an urgent meeting. When I arrived, I saw her sitting alone in the kitchen, the dim yellow light casting long shadows, the food already cold. She didn't say anything, just quietly put the food away, and that silence was more terrifying than any reproach. Our disagreements about having children or not gradually spread to our views on parenting. Olivia believed in early childhood education, in encouraging children to freely express themselves, develop their emotions, and explore the world through games and experiences. She wanted our children to live innocently, to be loved and free to choose. She often talked about enrolling our children in schools with open education methods, where children were encouraged to develop creativity and critical thinking. I, however, believed in discipline, clear guidance, and prioritizing the development of logical thinking, independence, and competitiveness in a challenging world. I wanted our children to attend the best schools, to be well-trained, to become exceptional individuals capable of bearing great responsibilities in society. I believed in instilling seriousness, perseverance, and problem-solving skills from an early age. Both of us believed we were right, and neither would yield. No one wanted to back down in this battle of parenting ideals. The lightning bolt of disagreement had truly struck, creating ever-widening cracks in the wall of our love, a wall we once thought unbreakable. Our home, once a sanctuary, now became the ignition point for endless arguments. The arguments about children became more frequent, more intense, and increasingly deadlocked with no hope for a common solution. They were no longer constructive discussions, but rather accusations, blame, and terrifying silence lasting hours, days. Olivia began to feel lonely in her own home, even when I was there. I could sense her distance, but I was too preoccupied with my work and my own worries to truly understand what was happening in her soul. She felt her desire to be a mother was being dismissed, set aside, belittled. She confided in close friends and colleagues, seeking empathy and advice. "He's too absorbed in his work, he doesn't want to have children with me, as if I'm just a temporary life partner, just a part of his perfect plan," Olivia would often complain to her close friend. Emily, tears welling up. She wondered if she was truly an important part of my life or just a convenient piece for my dream. I noticed her looking at pictures of children on social media or browse websites for baby items, and I knew what she longed for, but I couldn't respond. Meanwhile, I also felt immense pressure. It wasn't that I didn't want children, it was just that I wanted more thorough preparation, a more stable career, an unshakable financial foundation. I wanted to ensure my children would have the best life, lacking nothing. I felt pressured by Olivia, cornered by her, into a difficult choice between the career I was dedicating myself to and a family I wasn't ready for. I tried every way to avoid confronting the tense atmosphere and Olivia's questioning gaze. I even enrolled in a few online courses on financial management and investing, thinking it was the best way to prepare for the future. Communication between us gradually eroded, replaced by coldness and invisible voids like a widening chasm. We lived under the same roof but in different worlds, each with our own unspoken burdens. We gradually slept in separate rooms, dinners became silent meals and touches, kisses became a thing of the past. One fateful evening, after our most intense argument, yet when words had crossed a line and couldn't be unsaid, Olivia asked a pivotal question, one she had suppressed for so long. "Matthew, tell me the truth. Do you want to have children with me? Or do you not want children at all? Do you want to build a real family with me, with children running around the house with laughter and also worries?" I, in a fit of extreme anger and utter exhaustion, my mind reeling from work pressure and prolonged arguments, blurted out a sentence that left Olivia speechless, a sentence I would regret for the rest of my life. "I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready, or maybe I never really wanted children right now. I want our life to be freer, not bound by those responsibilities. You keep pressuring me, don't you understand me?" Those words were like a dagger piercing Olivia's heart, tearing through every last bit of hope and belief. I saw a flicker of extreme pain in her eyes, then they became empty, lifeless. Her trust completely collapsed. She realized that her greatest desire in life, her dream of becoming a mother, was not aligned with the man she had chosen. She felt betrayed, deceived, cruelly stripped of her right to motherhood. She couldn't force a man who wasn't willing to be a father. Olivia decided she couldn't continue living in a marriage where the future was so uncertain, where two people had such different definitions of happiness, where her dream was just a burden to her husband. I saw the resolve in her eyes, and I knew everything was beyond saving. After that fateful night, Olivia fell into a deep depression. She had no desire to do anything. Each day was a heavy burden. The radiant smile disappeared from her lips, replaced by a sad, distant gaze. Her work at the preschool was also affected. She no longer felt joy being with the children she once loved. She lost weight rapidly, and I noticed she was often tired, but I blamed it on her work pressure and didn't probe further. She sought out a women's health clinic not for a pregnancy checkup, but to undergo an abortion. A terrible secret, a heartbreaking decision she had to make alone in extreme loneliness and despair, with no one to share, with no one to lean on. It was a rainy afternoon in San Francisco, the heavy raindrops like her tears. Olivia sat alone in the cold hospital waiting room, the stark white lights intensifying her solitude. Her tears flowed ceaselessly, streaming down her pale cheeks. She remembered my words, remembered her dreams of children, the sketches of the house with a small garden she used to share with me, the names she had once considered for our child. All were now fragments of a shattered dream. She hadn't told me about her decision. She feared I would judge her, feared I would again evade responsibility. And more importantly, she didn't want me to bear the additional burden of a decision she had to carry alone, a burden of conscience that no one could share. I only knew she was away from home more often, but she said she needed her space to think, and I didn't press her further. A few months later, having somewhat recovered, Olivia filed for divorce. I was completely surprised and shocked. I couldn't believe things had gone this far, that our marriage would end so abruptly. I tried to hold on, tried to explain, tried to fix everything, begging her for a second chance. "Olivia, I'm sorry I was wrong. I'll change. Let's talk. I'll agree to have children. I'll do anything you want." I pleaded, my voice full of panic and despair. I didn't want to lose her. I told her I would quit my job, devote all my time to her, do anything to get her back. But Olivia just shook her head, her eyes looking at me like a stranger devoid of any affection. "It's too late, Matthew. I've lost trust. I can't continue living with someone who doesn't understand me, who doesn't truly want what I want. I can't continue living in a marriage whose future is too uncertain." "Are you hiding something from me? Why did you change so suddenly? Do you have someone else?" I questioned, sensing something deeper behind Olivia's sudden decision and strange resolve. I pressed her. I wanted to know the real reason, because I couldn't accept her leaving me so abruptly. Olivia looked straight into my eyes, her eyes red but coldly resolute, like someone who had suffered too much. "Do you want to know the truth? The truth is, for a while I was carrying your blood. For a while I dreamed of a child with blue eyes like yours, with wavy brown hair and my warm smile." My heart constricted as if being squeezed. My whole body trembled. My breath felt cut off. "What are you saying? Really, why didn't you tell me? How could you hide something so monumental from me?" I felt utter chaos in my mind, shock and an unnameable pain. "Because you weren't there. Matthew, you were too busy with your work, with your blueprints, with your endless meetings. You were too busy saying you weren't ready, that you wanted freedom. Do you remember the night we argued intensely about having children? The night you said you didn't know if you wanted children? I came home, I cried a lot, and then I found out I was pregnant." Olivia paused, a tear rolling down her cheek, falling onto the coffee table, creating a small wet stain. Her voice choked. "I wanted to tell you, I prepared everything to tell you. I bought a tiny pair of baby shoes as a gift for you. I imagined your happy face when you found out. But I was afraid. I was afraid you wouldn't be happy. Afraid you would see it as a burden. I was afraid you would be indifferent again, and the child would grow up in an incomplete family without enough love from its father, a father who wasn't even sure if he wanted it. I couldn't let my child suffer indifference and apathy from the father it deserved to love." A terrifying secret had just been revealed, striking me like a bolt of lightning from a clear sky, tearing apart all illusions of happiness. I collapsed onto the chair, my body trembling. Our child. A child whose existence I hadn't even known had grown inside Olivia, had carried my blood, and had been lost because of my own words, my selfish, careless actions. I had personally destroyed not only love, but also my own future, the future of a family. Feelings of regret and guilt surged, engulfing me in profound pain, an unnameable, unshareable pain. I had lost everything, and I knew that this pain would follow me for the rest of my life. I looked at Olivia, saw the exhaustion in her eyes, and I knew I had no right to hold on to her anymore. She deserved a better life, a man more worthy than me. After the divorce, I sank into deep torment and regret. I lived in an empty house where every small corner reminded me of Olivia, of the sweet memories of the past, and of the profound pain of our unborn child. The crib Olivia had eagerly looked at online, the tiny baby clothes she had once dreamed of, all were now knives cutting into my soul. I found the divorce papers again, read the cold words over and over, and looked at the blank space in the children's section, a void I had personally created, an unfillable hole in my life. I tried to immerse myself in work, but my mind couldn't find peace. Even the most complex lines of code couldn't erase the image of Olivia, the image of a child that could have been running around the house. I often visited parks, watching children play, happily young couples with their children, and imagined my own child, the life I had missed, the role of father I had refused. That pain gnawed at me daily, turning me into a shadow. I suffered from frequent insomnia, nightmares of the unformed child haunting me every night. I turned to alcohol to forget, but it only deepened the pain. I tried to contact Olivia, but she had changed her phone number, moved to another city, cutting off all contact, as if to protect herself from painful memories. Olivia wanted to start a new life without my presence, without painful memories, without unhealed scars. She was too tired, too hurt to forgive, to come back. I understood that. I accepted the truth that I had lost Olivia, lost my family, lost everything, simply because of my indecision, my selfishness, and our irreconcilable differences. I realized that sometimes love alone isn't enough. To build a family there needs to be a harmony of souls understanding and a shared direction for the future, especially the future of the next generation. I had not only rejected Olivia, but also rejected my own complete happiness, rejected the right to be a father, rejected a meaningful part of my life. The scar of regret was deeply etched in my soul, reminding me of life's bitterest lesson, a lesson I had paid too high a price for. I began to seek meaning in other smaller but more authentic things. I started taking courses in child psychology, learning about the importance of holistic child rearing, not just intellectually, but emotionally with love. I volunteered for community activities, helping underprivileged families, unfortunate children. I found some solace in doing good deeds, even though I couldn't turn back time to correct my mistakes. I realized that contributing to society, however small, brought me a peace that money or fame could not buy. I started feeling useful, that I was making up for my mistakes in some way. 5 years passed since Olivia and I divorced. San Francisco was still vibrant, but my life had taken a different turn, quieter and more meaningful. I was no longer the ambitious software engineer, tirelessly working on large projects, multi-million-dollar ventures. I left my job at the startup, found a more stable, less stressful job at a moderately sized tech company, and dedicated most of my free time to community activities. I had found a new direction, a new meaning in life. I volunteered for projects designing public spaces for underprivileged children, community playgrounds, small libraries and shelters, therapeutic gardens for children with disabilities. I found joy in creating spaces where children could play, learn, where small dreams could blossom, where they could find a little peace and hope. I also started writing a blog sharing stories about children, about the importance of raising children in a healthy environment, about the lessons I had learned from my own mistakes, about the preciousness of family love. My writings gradually became known to many, touching the hearts of thousands of readers. I received many letters from parents sharing their stories, and that helped me feel I wasn't alone in my journey of correcting mistakes. I still regularly kept up with news about Olivia through mutual friends. I knew she was still a dedicated preschool teacher and had moved to a school in a peaceful California suburb where she could be closer to nature and underprivileged children. I saw photos of her smiling brightly with the little ones and felt a strange peace within me, though still a slight ache, a lingering regret that couldn't be erased. I always wondered if she was happy, if she had found the man who truly understood and cherished her desire to be a mother. One warm spring afternoon, I was standing in a community park I had just finished designing, watching children play, their innocent laughter echoing through the space. I felt a gentle hand touch my shoulder. Turning around, I froze. My heart pounded as if it would burst from my chest. It was Olivia. She stood there with a gentle smile, her eyes as clear as ever, but now with added depth, maturity, the seasoned beauty of a woman who had found true happiness. She wore a light blue dress, her hair flowing in the wind. She looked so peaceful. "Matthew," Olivia said, her voice soft like a gentle breeze. "I knew it was you. You did a great job. The children here are so happy. This park is wonderful." I was stunned, unable to speak. "Olivia, what are you doing here? How did you know I was here?" "I'm working on a report about public spaces for children, and someone recommended I come here, saying it was a very meaningful project that brought a lot of value to the community. And they mentioned your name." Olivia looked at me, her eyes filled with emotion, a little confusion, a little nostalgia, and also appreciation. "I've read your blog posts. You've changed so much, Matthew. I'm so happy about that. You found a new path, a truly meaningful one." I felt a sense of relief spread through me, knowing she had been following me and no longer held resentment. We sat down on a stone bench under an ancient tree talking. No more accusations, no more resentment, no more endless arguments. Only understanding, regret, and a little peace filtering through. I told Olivia about my journey, about how I had found meaning in life by helping children, by creating spaces filled with joy. I told her about the regret that had followed me through the years, about the sleepless nights thinking about the child who never had a chance to be born. I told her I still remembered every word she had said, every tear she had shed. Olivia also shared about her work, about the happiness of being a mother, though not a biological one, but a mother to hundreds of children at the preschool. She talked about her students, about the small joys they brought. I have some good news to share with you, Matthew," Olivia said, her voice hesitant, her cheeks slightly flushed. I remarried. He's David, a teacher at the same school as me. He's a warm, understanding man who loves children very much. He's very much like what I once dreamed of. And we just had a baby boy. His name is Leo. He's adorable and very lively. He has hazel eyes like mine and David's smile. My heart constricted, but this time it wasn't the desperate pain of the past, but a sense of relief and a slight pang of bittersweet sorrow, a gentle sadness. I had prepared for this moment, but hearing it from her own lips, the feeling was still indescribable. I saw that she was happy, and that was the most important thing. I'm very happy for you, Olivia. Truly. I wish you complete happiness. I know you'll be a wonderful mother. David must be a good father. He deserves you. Olivia smiled a truly warm and genuine smile without a hint of awkwardness. Thank you, Matthew. You too. I believe you'll be a good father if you get the chance. You've changed so much. We sat for a little longer, then Olivia stood up. I have to go. David and our son are waiting for me in the car. I'll see you at one of your project exhibitions, Matthew. I'll be there to support you. I watched Olivia walk away, a graceful, peaceful figure, her hand clasped tightly in another man's, and a chubby baby giggling in his arms. I had lost her, lost my family, lost our child. But I had found myself again, found a new purpose in life, and more importantly, I had learned a lesson about understanding, about cherishing the values I once took for granted. I knew that even though my happiness was no longer shared with Olivia, she was happy, and that was the most important thing. The scar in my heart was still there, but it was no longer a throbbing wound. It was a reminder of what I had been through, of the path I had walked, and of a future where I would live more responsibly. A future where I would use my experience to help others. My life, though no longer glamorous as it once was, is richer than ever, because I have found meaning in serenity, in compassion, and in creating good things for the world. Perhaps this is my destiny, a solitary but meaningful journey. And that is my story, a clear testament to the fact that love can be vast, but if two people don't share a common vision for the future, especially on core issues like views on children, then cracks are inevitable and can lead to irreparable losses. It shows that sometimes seemingly small differences can become deep chasms, breaking even the strongest relationships, leaving permanent scars on the soul. What do you think about my story? Do I deserve a new happiness after my mistakes, or will I have to live with regret forever? Was Olivia too hasty in making that heartbreaking decision, or was it the only choice for her to save herself? And more importantly, what do you think is the most crucial factor in building a happy family when a couple has different views on children or unaligned life ideals? Please leave your comments below. Share your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next compelling stories. Thank you for listening to my story. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.